You are touching the daily lives of millions of people. Imagine that you woke up at 6 in the morning. You are going to take your final exam. You need to use public transportation. Imagine that when you go, it doesn't work. We actually make it work. Smart public transportation is a heading under the heading of smart cities. Smart transportation is actually technology. You can provide very value-added reports on the life of the city and the quality of life of the people. In order to compete with the world, the first rule is that your quality must be world-class. Our quality is world-class. There are many concepts in human history. In other words, there are trends, there are main topics, these are about solutions. There are many topics such as health, education, etc. After transportation emerged, mass transportation emerged. With the emergence of technology, a title called smart transportation emerged. Smart public transportation is a heading under the heading of smart cities. The top heading is smart cities. There are dozens of titles under the title of smart cities. Many things such as the needs of countries, the needs of people, the situation of geographies, etc. can also change. In other words, if you go to a very hot country, protection from the heat can be a smart city topic. If you go to a very cold place or a country with a very high crime rate, various issues related to smart security can be very important. But the most common issue is traffic, which is the most important problem when you consider that cities are getting crowded. Under this heading, smart public transportation is the most common topic under the heading of smart cities, the most important topic for the whole world, for the urbanizing, crowded world. We are a company operating under this heading. The reason we call it smart is that what makes it smart is actually technology. IoT technologies under the heading of technology. Because data communication has accelerated a lot in the last 20 or 30 years. A concept called the Nestele Internet has emerged. All of our devices on vehicles can send their data to our systems instantly. This means that approximately 1.5 to 2 billion logins come to our systems on a daily basis. Of course, this can make a lot of sense. When you go to this big data warehouse and ask the right question, it can provide you with very meaningful reports. This is actually where the smartness comes from, so you can provide value-added reports to the life of the city and the quality of life of the people. Our role here is to make the rapprochement and the relationship between public transportation administrations and the citizens who use public transportation more quality, and to be an intermediary to ensure that these public transportation administrations provide much better quality services to these people. In the past, when technology was not so advanced, it was not possible to make sense of so much data. In other words, some comments had to be made on individual data. But when you throw a very large data into a pool and try to make sense of it by asking various correct queries, it gives you the opportunity to produce and make sense of very accurate reports. In fact, the systems that provide what we call smart are the reporting systems made with the development of this technology. Of course, people take some actions knowingly or unknowingly. With these IoT technologies, their actions actually leave a log to the systems, they leave a record. If we give an example from us on a daily basis, about 15 million people use our systems and leave records to the systems in many countries around the world. When they get on the buses and scan their validators or go to the people counting systems, they leave information when they pass through the turnstiles. This means that we receive around 1.5 billion different data from 15 million people. Data that can be made sense of. As I said, when we collect them in a number of information pools, we can produce many reports that can smarten and optimize cities in many ways. In fact, the smart public transportation work we did on the first day, if we want to caricature the issue, let's remember the old vehicles. Let those who can remember, remember. There was a bus or a train, there was a conductor, there were inspectors, there were ticket payment systems, there were even cash payment methods in some vehicles. In fact, the first reason for its emergence was the need for improvement in this area. In other words, to move to a management system without money, and at the same time to move to a faster management system. But with advancing technologies and changing needs, new value-added services started to come around this ecosystem. The most important thing here is the driver. That is, the thing that drives it forward the most is the fact that IoT technologies and data transfer can be accelerated a lot, computer capacities increase, reporting systems related to these have developed a lot. As a matter of fact, the need for a solution that started with the fee collection system has developed its ecosystem and has become much more meaningful in the world and in Turkey. We make sense of the data I have just mentioned, which is around 1.5 billion data coming in on a daily basis. With various report formats, we make sense of whatever the administrations and public transportation administrations want, and according to their needs to facilitate their urban lives and offer them to their services. To exemplify this, from these left logs we can see where the most crowded line in a city is, what the density is at which hours, where these people get off and where they get on, where they fill their cards the most, which is the busiest stop, which is the busiest bus, which part of the city is busier, which part is less busy, and we have many reports on many solutions suitable for this planning. There is this data in many places. Cities are getting crowded very fast and cities are very vibrant. People are constantly on the move and they want to move from one place to another very quickly. By recognizing and making sense of this situation, we are trying to shorten the time that these people on the move take to get to their destinations, and at the same time we are trying to make this more efficient for the administrations and to facilitate the relationship between the administration and the passenger and to increase the satisfaction between them. At the point we have reached at the moment, if we evaluate the situation in the course of time as the first phase of this fee collection system becomes safer and more efficient, the situation so far, as I just mentioned, some additional services have arrived. At the moment, people's needs are generally at the following levels. People no longer want to live a life dependent on a card. Even if they have many cards, they do not want to carry them. If possible, they want to do this with mobile. Because life is now mobile and people want to do all their transactions on our phones and get rid of these burdens. Therefore, we are rapidly evolving our systems in parallel with the trends in the world towards systems that are independent of a card, where credit cards and similar prepaid cards are also used in banking systems. In addition to this, we have developed various alternatives such as multiple payment, mobile payment, payment with NFC systems. This is the main trend here at the moment. If we look forward, mobile is definitely much more, there is this demand today, but proportionally it is not very high. But there is a big wind behind it and there is a rapid progress towards mobile. Also, as I said, there is a trend in which other systems can be used, and even the card of one city can be used in other cities, and people can freely use public transportation without any binding or restriction on this issue. It will proceed accordingly. There are very futuristic approaches, but these will actually change in the next 10, 20, 30 years, depending on the shape that public transportation will take beyond the systems we have established. In other words, there is talk of flying drones and flying taxis in today's world. As this ecosystem will evolve, the payment systems for these will also change in parallel with them. In other words, there are payment systems with facial scanning systems in this world. In other words, people pay with their biometric data, not cards. In some countries, people wear chips on their bodies and make payments by showing their hands and showing these chips. In addition, adding some value-added services to these cards, turning them into city cards, not only in public transportation, but also in other parts of the city, in various services provided by public administrations, and even in the private sector, various trends are rapidly progressing in the world, where the functions of these cards are increasing, not only as cards, but also the functions of cards downloaded to the phone. These are actually in line with the changes in technology and life. We always keep our solutions in line with these on our agenda, and artificial intelligence is on our agenda. Making sense of and automating reports with artificial intelligence is on our agenda. These furniture payment systems are already on our agenda. In this way, they follow life and offer new services to our customers. Approximately over 15 million people in the world use our cards on a daily basis. It varies between 15 and 20 million people. When they leave a record, when they pass through the validation devices in our buses, which we call validation devices, or when they pass through the tunics, this means about 1.5 billion data per day for us. You can generate thousands of reports from this, and administrations can use and make sense of it in many places. As we have just discussed, it can produce smart solutions and provide added value to urban life in many areas. Our administrations have the chance to produce many reports that can increase efficiency in many areas, such as the wear of sidewalks, parking needs, shortening people's travel times, wear of roads, emissions, environment, wear of vehicles, working hours, fuel consumption, and at the same time, as I just mentioned, increase the satisfaction relationship between the administration and the passenger. With this 1.5 billion days of data, we have been named the most data-collecting IoT technologies company in Turkey in the last 2 years. This is also related to our market share, because our market share in Turkey is by far the first. In this way, we actually receive the most data, and we offer them through services that manage public transportation. In this regard, we are also the first in Turkey in this category. In the solutions of municipalities, the trends are now very high. The environmental trends are very high. Social sensitivities such as carbon emissions and the use of electric vehicles are very high. Public transportation administrations have recently shown a lot of interest in our systems, mostly within the framework of their visions such as city air identity and sustainability. And they have become able to use these reports, the reports we produce from this big data, a lot. Of course, we do not only do these works in Turkey. Our company has been a global company for many years. Globalization is one of our main strategies in 2024. We attach great importance to foreign markets, and we have operations in 14 countries excluding Turkey. We are active in many countries. We are active in many countries from Africa to Europe, even in the Far East, India, in many countries, in many public transportation administrations, in many different channels, in many areas, in many parts of the world, in many areas of public transportation usage areas, some in buses, some in trolley buses, some in metros, some in sea transportation vehicles. Our most important market outside Turkey is India. We have delivered 6 projects in India. I can proudly say that the last project we delivered was in the city of Agra, where the Taj Mahal, an iconic monument in the world, is located. People there are making their daily journeys with the value-added products we have added to the public transportation system, and we enjoy it very much. The first rule to compete with the world is that your quality has to be world-class. Our quality is world-class. We follow world standards. We are constantly trying to go even beyond them by updating our technologies. The second is competitiveness. Your quality can be very good, but if you are not competitive, it is no longer a sustainable business. This is where we make the most difference. We produce world-class quality software and solutions. But also perhaps with the contribution of the geography we are located in. Because the needs here are very situational. People and some of our customers in our geographies may sometimes want their instant needs to be solved very quickly. This has improved our muscle mass in this area as well. I have transformed us into a company that is very sensitive to the customer, that can produce very effective solutions and very high-quality services in a very fast time, both in Turkey and in the world. Our mobility is one of our most important competitive advantages. Beyond all these, in the third place, we are extremely competitive as part of our globalization strategy. We never refrain from being as competitive as we need to be in terms of getting that job and doing that job. Of course, needs have changed over time, especially with the change in technology. People have gone far beyond the expectation that we should just pay our money quickly and move on like in the first day. When people load money on their cards, they no longer want to look for a newsstand or a place on the street. They also want to load money from their phones. We produce solutions that allow them to do this quickly. Or they don't want to go and wait at the bus stop for hours for a bus that is unpredictable. That's why we now offer systems that tell them, for example, how many minutes the bus will arrive at the bus stops, when it will arrive, and even when it will arrive before it gets there. They also want to get various information within the vehicle. In other words, we offer services such as where the next stop is, when to get off, where the line is. We offer many similar value-added services. We put devices at stations where they can refill their cards. We make all the devices in our large software ecosystem talk and communicate with each other. The big data I just mentioned is actually collected within this big ecosystem, so all of those logs actually become meaningful at some point. As I said, human needs are changing rapidly with the development of technology. Public transportation administrations want to respond to them. We are already ready for most of these. And we produce fast, instant solutions in this context. We have so much confidence in our own technologies and products that if any metropolis in the world, right from Polyodon to Tokyo to New York, comes to us and says, smarten up our city and install this electronic fare collection system, universally known as EFC solutions. We have the capability to install it in the shortest time possible, operate it in the most effective way, and produce solutions in the most competitive way. We have around 200 engineers working in software whose only job is to develop systems. Their sole focus is to continuously develop systems and to produce new solutions for our customers with new trends, one step ahead of the world while following world trends. From our point of view, we are mainly a software company. However, we also produce some of our most necessary devices. In other words, because our most necessary devices are the validation and driver control panels that we can create at scale, we produce devices that manage the ecosystem within the vehicle and are used by the driver. Apart from that, we also have devices that we have our subcontractors produce, provided that we own the IPs of some of them, but our definition is that we are a software company. And we have a very qualified software staff with a low turnover who have been working with us for many years, who are specialized in this specific domain, who have been dealing with this business for years. We actually do all of this work thanks to them. Honestly, I was very surprised when I arrived. This is a bit engineering, a bit alpha male. Public transportation is also a male-dominated sector. But as the world is changing, so is this. I am very happy that 30% of our current engineering staff are women. In fact, we all see it in the media. Women have started to appear more and more in the vehicles, in the subways, buses, and so on. I think this is an important development that will make our sector and ecosystem more beautiful, softer, and more aesthetic. The thing that excites me the most is this. You are actually touching the daily lives of millions of people in the most direct way. Imagine this, you get up at 6 in the morning, you are going to take your final exam. You need to use public transportation. Imagine that it doesn't work when you go. We actually make it work every morning when we get up. We are somewhere at the beginning of the first movement that can touch the happiness or unhappiness of 15 million people when they get up in the morning. So, of course, it is a great satisfaction for me to be creating happiness and making life easier. And we touch the lives of many people many times every day. And we create very serious added value there. We are making very important touches on people's happiness and improving their quality of life. To tell the truth, this is a very important satisfaction for me, independent of work, power, everything. That is why I'm extremely happy and satisfied to be in this sector and to be the manager of such a company.